There's the movie True Grit. What is grit? You think about it. And can you be helped by developing more grit? There was a study in Norway published in Frontiers in Education. Yes, I subscribe. That did a study with teenage boys, helping them to develop more grit, a trait linked to success and well-being. It says here, and then right away, some people are listening, go like, oh, well, what about girls? Pet peeve of mine. We focus so much on girls, STEM and sports and all of that, and empowerment of ladies. We forget about the young men. And then we wonder why young men are involved in gangs and drugs and nefarious operations. But they had no leadership. Why? Because we're focused on girls. Where's the dads? That kind of stuff. So this study aimed at tried to measure if you can develop grit. Is it born? Are you born with it, or can it be taught? What is grit anyway? Well, joining us right now is a guy who has overcome. I would say he's got plenty of grit, and kind of the opposite of, say, what lawnmower parenting would be. Scott Allen Curley is an expert in overcoming adversity. Why? Because he did. That's why. A self-made millionaire, a guy who was involved in the other side of the law, drugs, alcohol, gangs, all of that, one day said, you know what, this is not how I want to be, and just literally changed his life, became a great father, and a leader, and wrote this book, Absolution, The Dark Path to Light. And that's a pretty cool thing. And he's an entrepreneur, too, and he joins us now about grit. Scott Allen Curley. You know what? I said you're a dad. I just assumed that, Scott. I think you told me that before. Don't you have kids?
Yeah, I have kids. I sure do. How are you doing this morning, Mike?
I'm good, man. You're one of the guys. Yeah, it has. But when I saw grit, and I thought, you know what? I bet this guy. You and my friend Hondo, who I had dinner with yesterday, my friend Charlie. I know a couple of guys with grit. You kind of got to have guys around you who have grit to show you what grit is. It's not. I don't think you're born with it. You have to learn it, don't you?
I think it's probably a combination of two. You know, iron sharpens iron, first of all, and I believe that it's important, even if you have it, in order to maintain it, it's important to surround yourself with other folks who have it as well.
Yeah, grit. It's kind of a weird esoteric term. Is it just come down to self-reliance? Probably deeper than that, I suppose.
Man, we're in a very interesting moment in history right now where I'm not going to beat up any group of people, but there's so much entitlement going on where it's a little bit more challenging for folks to understand the importance of having grit, because so much is expected to be given without being earned, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What? You and I have talked about this before. We had a whole show one time, if I'm not mistaken, one evening.
Yeah, we did. We sure did, because I like to revisit it, because sometimes it just seems like we've overall lost a backbone. And as I said going in, sometimes we focus too much, I think, on helping girls get a leg up and being, leaders and that. We forget there are guys out there, and guys will, if they're not led to be leaders, they will find someone else who will, and that could generally be drugs, alcohol, gangs.
That's right. We have to be comfortable and okay with allowing our kids and to bump their heads a little bit. We don't want them to bust it wide open the way I did, But it's important. It's important for us to be okay allowing them to bump their heads a little bit and not feel so compelled to pick up and clean up their mistakes and clean up their messes. Let them clean up their own a bit. And I think as a society, that is probably where we have missed the mark, because I believe that we have been the lawnmower parents. And I think, I'm not mistaken, I may have gotten that from you, that term.
Yeah, I mentioned it before. It's kind of like helicopter parents, but you fly that upside down, you start cutting down the weeds. And what that is, we all have to find our way through the weeds with a little guidance. But if you're a lawnmower parent and you cut the weeds down, there's no adversity. They don't know adversity until life kicks them right in the teeth.
And then they don't know how to deal with it.
Right.
So to circle back to your point about the grit, I think that with the boys, especially with boys, because it's tough out here for guys and young men. It's important for us to continue to remind them that things are going to be challenging at times, and it's okay. Embrace it, accept it, deal with it, because every time you deal with it, you overcome that little challenge or that little bit of adversity, all you've done is made yourself just a little bit stronger and a little bit more confident to go on and take on the next task.
I just was saying this over the weekend to someone else. I said, well, my buddy Steve, I said, we all need little victories throughout our life.
That's right.
And whether it's, hey, I can, and celebrate those. My first step, everybody, yay, woohoo. You don't remember it, but, you do it. And the first time you ride a bike, yay, woohoo. There's not a pat on the back where you say, boy, the very air you breathe is golden. You are my child of angel wings. No. But you get an attaboy, attagirl pat on the back. We all need that throughout life.
You're so right, and we should give it to ourselves because every little victory that we accomplish and everything we overcome, even if someone else doesn't acknowledge it, we should acknowledge it within ourselves. We got up, we washed our face, we brushed our teeth, we fought the urge to sleep 10 minutes later. Hey, that's a victory. Good job, Mike. Good job, Scott.
Yeah, you know what? And even later in life, we're going through this right now. We're talking with Scott Alec Curley, the guy, Absolution, the Dark Path to Light. And I want to get into that in just a minute. That's just his book. Sure. The guy does guest speaking and mentoring all over the place, and overcame a lot of adversity to become the man he is. But my point is this: throughout your life, I've welcomed Lisa's dad, my wife's dad, into our home. Mm-hmm. The guy's 88. He's been through a lot. And now he forgets a lot of things. But you know what? He finished a puzzle over the weekend. And it was like, all right, man. Woo. All right. Good. That's, boy, that was a tough one. Wasn't it, Dad? Yeah, it was. Yeah, the trees. It's hard to find the right leaves there. Boy, I don't know who makes these things. It's so funny. We got into a whole conversation about puzzle. Exactly. And I told everybody in the family, I said, I know it sounds funny. It sounds goofy. I'll get the roll of the eyes behind the back, with my daughter. And I said, hey, listen, though. He's paid his dues. You haven't. And this is every man especially needs to know that he's overcome something, a challenge. And so it's a puzzle. All right. He's overcome a lot. Tell me about Absolution, the Dark Path to Light. This is your story, your life story, is it not?
It is, and it's a continuing journey. It's the short of it is it's just my story from having a lot of challenges and creating a lot of self-imposed problems for myself. And one day, and of course going in and out of prison many times and being on drugs and homeless and things like that, and deciding at one point in my life that I'm just not going to live this way anymore, that I'm no better than anyone, but I am better than these situations that I've been putting myself in. So I decided to no longer make those decisions, and it starts with a conscious and an intentional choice that I have to make every day. And that's why, not to be long-winded, but even the cover of the book depicts a man with a hoodie walking from a very dark place into what appears to be a very bright place. But at the same time, on the cover, it shows that he's not all the way into the brightness. So the point in that is that it's an ongoing journey, and the whole point is that I have to stay humble, because the moment that I get too impressed with myself is the moment that I start falling back into that dark place.
Who do you surround yourself with, Scott? You're the guy that everybody leans on, but who do you lean on?
First of all, because that's where I find all the source, and all good things, one way or another, come from my higher power. And I try to surround myself with other people who have been through things and have found a way through it. And it doesn't have to be monumental things. It could be just challenges like having migraines and finding a way to get through the day despite having this ongoing pain. I'm starting a podcast very soon about other people who have gone through adversities and challenges and have chosen not to take the victim stance and chose to be a victor instead of a victim. So it's so important for me to surround myself with people who don't take victim stances.
I like that. Yeah, when's the podcast start?
It starts in March. We can't choose if we're victimized, but we can choose if we're going to be a victim. And there's a huge difference there.
Hey, by the way, the next printing of your book, you know what you should put in the inside cover? One of your mug shots.
You know, I thought about doing that in this one, but my publishers and my publisher kind of we went back and forth about it.
All right. Well, I'll be looking for my autograph. Yeah, sure. I'll be looking for my autograph copy. Let me get you my address. Of course, you'll be sending that, right?
Text me your address, and I'll definitely send you one. I'd love to.
Buddy, I'm telling you, this is the kind of stuff I love reading. Success stories. And you know what? I would suggest this. I'm going to just endorse your book. I didn't call you to do that. I called you because of your experience and to be able to talk about this grit, and I think we did.
But you're, talk, don't we?
You and I are. This is kind of like dinner, coffee. We got to do that. Scott Allen Curley, look him up. And Absolution: The Dark Path to Light. Great read. Maybe if you're looking for a summer read, get into that. End the podcast too. Well, when you launch that thing, let's get you back on, okay?
Mike. Thanks for having me again.
All right, brother. See you later.
Be good. Bye-bye.